Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So, we are going to continue coverage and updated information on, wow, it just might be Hurricane Hilary coming into Southern California. Let me show you here really quick. So, this is her in real time tracking. She's downgraded a little bit, but she's still a Category 4. Now winds at sustained 130 miles an hour. Her barometer pressure has risen a little bit to 948 millibars. And she's moving a little bit faster now at 12 miles an hour to the northwest. What we're going to want to keep an eye out on is how long will she travel at northwest before she actually makes a turn to go dead north. That's going to determine whether she is going to be arriving coastal California or coming in from Mexico. And that will really determine how much, well, I shouldn't say even see how much, but how her energy is going to be released. It's also going to create storm surge conditions, which could possibly affect the Long Beach area and the Queen Mary. Let me go ahead and show you something here really quick. And we should have audio now fixed from yesterday. First off, let me show you that Long Beach is not messing around. They're taking this rather seriously. They've put out this storm advisory. We're preparing for a significant weather system resulting from Hurricane Hilary, currently located off the coast of Mexico. This weather event is expected to bring significant rain and wind throughout the Long Beach area, with increased swells specifically noted along the ocean front. High winds and intermittent periods of heavy precipitation are also anticipated citywide. The storm system is expected to arrive early Sunday morning, August 20th, and into Monday, August 21st. So they've been sandbagging. They have sandbags and piles of sand available for people to use to sandbag their own personal property. But they've also built one huge berm on the beach. Let me go ahead and show you that really quick. And let me see. Everybody, give me a shout out if you hear the audio on this.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's talking about it. We've had some pretty good cloud coverage this morning, maybe a precursor of what's to come. And there's been a lot of activity on the beach from the lifeguards out here near Lifeguard Tower 2, out in full force. They're going to have a busy weekend. And if we pan across on the other side, we can see crews still working on this long sand berm here, a sign that the area is expecting a significant amount of rain and preparing for possible flooding. So these city crews in the last 24 hours building this berm stretching about a mile from Seal Beach Pier down the coast, and that's really to protect some of these beachfront homes and businesses. Hilary now strengthened to a Category 4 hurricane off the coast of Baja, California, with sustained winds up to 140 miles per hour. Meanwhile, as crews continue to prepare along the coast and beachgoers are enjoying the calm conditions before that tropical storm arrives, lifeguards are warning about high surf, waves up to 9 feet, and strong rip currents that make for dangerous conditions, especially for beginners. And this could be the first tropical storm in over 80 years to hit California. Listen.
Very strong, exceptionally strong, and it's taken a different kind of track, a little closer to the land. And I hope everybody's all right.
We just sandbag around here, you know. I have my garage, like I said, is at sea level, so I just bag it up really good and hope for the best. If there's a storm surge, which sometimes happens with like something like this, then, you know, we're just praying for the best because it can be pretty bad.
So a lot of people here have been preparing with sandbags, and this is a reminder, check with your local fire station wherever you are here in Seal Beach. Sandbags are being offered at several locations and at pretty much every Orange County Fire Authority station. So preparing for that incoming weather, but as for right now, it's been a fairly calm morning here. The sun's starting to peek out. Reporting live here in Seal Beach, we'll send it back to you.
Okay, so sorry about that. One of my tabs that I had open to show. Apparently, they changed it to a police chase. So I was hearing the police helicopter, or not the police helicopter, but the television station's helicopter guy giving squawks over the radio, I guess. But I was wondering where that sound was coming from. Anyways, now the interesting thing is that this might actually be a Category 1 as it enters California. And let me see if I can show you this other track here really quick. Nope. Oh, where are you? Nope, that's not it. Oh, it might have been the one that changed. It was the one that changed. Okay, let me get rid of that one. Okay. Yeah, let me go ahead and play this one for you too.
Advisory just into us from the National Hurricane Center puts Hurricane Hilary still at a powerful and large Category 4 storm with winds of 145 miles per hour. The winds have not changed. Notice the movement, though, moving toward the northwest at about 10 miles per hour. And again, that barometric pressure, as we were just showing you. And note what we're anticipating. This is an interesting change. Note, and not a huge surprise, that we're expecting now, as of the newest advisory, for Hurricane Hilary to maintain hurricane status as it moves into San Diego, California, as possibly a Category 1 hurricane. You'll remember that before it was a powerful tropical storm. Again, it would maintain, at this point, we're thinking it may maintain hurricane characteristics. Those are winds over 74 to 75 miles per hour as it makes its headway toward the U.S. mainland. The winds, as we've been mentioning, are going to be gusty, especially Sunday night into Monday. So on top of the torrential rain that we're anticipating, we're expecting those strong, perhaps hurricane force winds up and over 74 to 75 miles per hour. So we're going to watch that very carefully as, again, we continue to get more information as the hurricane hunters continue to fly in, gather more information from this system. Note, too, that as we put this into motion for you, what you'll notice is it is going to race up the west coast of Baja California. That's about a 750 to 800 mile stretch, and it may make landfall. We paused the clock here at about 8 o'clock on Saturday morning because it is closing in on Baja Tortuga. It is that little point there in the Baja California area where, again, it may make landfall. I think it may if it drifts just further toward the west and stays over the open waters of the Pacific Ocean. It looks like that may be one of the reasons why we may not see it degenerate, is just because if it stays over the open waters of the ocean as opposed to making landfall in Baja Tortuga, then again we would expect the intensification to hold relatively steady, though it'll be running into cooler water. But places like San Diego to LA need to be prepared for lots of wind and rain from this system. Again, there's a topographical element to this as well, with lots of mountainous regions, especially just east of San Diego. Unfortunately,
I'm gonna pause this for a minute. I have to make something pretty clear. This is absolutely unusual for us to be even hearing this. This is conversation that we hear when a hurricane is approaching the Gulf Coast or Florida or the Southeast. We never get this kind of storm warning information. Maybe a little bit, but not to this degree. Now, we're not looking at catastrophic conditions. We're not looking at a lot of times what happens on the East Coast with a stronger storm, but nonetheless, this could significantly make life difficult, especially in the the oceanfront area, Long Beach, Seal Beach, any of the coastal communities, because we easily get flooding in those first few blocks from the shore, even in Long Beach. And of course, with the Queen Mary, it's a combination of her upper decks either have been, they have teak decking that has now rotted away, which is going to be an issue, or in the highest areas like above Sir Winston's, for example, where the mainmast is, that has all been like, it was given like a rubber sealant coating about 30 years ago. When you walk up there today, it's hard, crunchy, cracked. Now, they did supposedly recover that when Sir Winston's had a huge flood. We had a pretty bad storm in 2017, and it damaged Sir Winston's quite a bit. But there are other areas that have that same kind of coating that haven't been repaired. So it's going to be very curious to find out if there's going to be any problems with this. Let me show you here really quick, and we'll play that here. Okay, so this is from my deck update that I just uploaded last week. But you can see that they have covered the deck with plywood, and then just fairly recently have given it this, I don't know if you want to call it a sealant. It's been given some kind of a coating. I'm not so sure I'm willing to bet that it's going to hold up. And with the amount of rain that they're talking about, the ship already has issues with drainage. So there's going to be a backup of water on the decks. And it's going to be really bad. I know what happens when there's a backlog of water accumulating on the deck, and it will find its way into the interior parts of the ship. Let me go ahead and see if anybody on the channels on the chat here has got any questions at all. I'll just say hi to Mike. We got Mike, Max, Shiloh, Evan, Thomas Brooks, Moonzer, Jamie. Jamie's here. Right on. Matthew's here. Oh, Scott's here. Let's see. Anybody else? And we got Briggs. Briggs with a rather interesting skull and crossbones icon. Anyways, to get back what I was saying. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to keep our eye out. This could either... I don't know how people do it on the East Coast. You either can prepare like crazy, or just prepare for what you think might happen. But, you could have the absolute worst happen, and it could all fizzle out. I mean, there's some tracks that are showing that the hurricane, midway up the Baja coast, could track west and completely miss even heading towards California. So we have no idea, but probably the next 24 hours, we're going to, have to keep our eye on it overnight and find out what is, if anything has changed with her in those 24 hours. And that could make a big difference. Let's see. Anybody got any questions? Yeah, Jamie was making about the comment about staying on board a couple of nights. I guess I probably would, but I would hate to be stuck in a room that all of a sudden got a major leak. Yeah, I think you're high up, Mike, in the on the East Coast. So whatever comes up your way is mostly, burned out. You're not getting the same force that, like the Carolinas or Florida or Georgia would get. But that's probably one of the reasons why I don't live on the East Coast, because I don't know if I'd really want to deal with that. But, I guess we get earthquakes here and not so much out there. Let's see here. Okay. I did have something else to show. Oh, this was something that was covering Long Beach a little bit earlier today, so let me go ahead and play that for you really quick.
We want to begin with Hurricane Hilary, though. Communities here are bracing for the worst. It has grown to a Category 4 storm, of course, that will diminish as it goes over those cooler waters inland.
And we do have live team coverage on the storm. Our reporters Tina Patel and Cara Finstrom are covering the preparations on the ground. And of course, meteorologist Paul Diano is tracking Hurricane Hilary as it makes its way towards us. And we'll have your full forecast just a little bit later. But we will begin with Tina Patel, who is live in Long Beach.
Good morning. And here in Long Beach, there have been problems with flooding in the past, and that's why the city set up this sandbag station. You can see that it's completely filled with sand, and there's some empty bags here. So anybody that's worried that they might need to do a little extra preparation can come by here, get these for free. Behind me, you can also see that there is a berm that has been built up over the past few weeks. A number of residents tell us there was a lot of flooding over the winter months with all those rainstorms, and they kept the berms up because they knew there could be a possibility with future storms. Now, it's not just here in Long Beach that we're seeing this. Take a look. SkyCal flew over Seal Beach last night, and we can see the berms have been built up there as well. There are several low-lying areas along our coast that have flooded before, so officials are trying to be proactive, preparing for any high waves or strong surf that we might get with this storm. It has been a while since Southern California has been hit by a hurricane or a tropical storm, but it has happened before. Back in 1939, there was a storm that dumped 11 inches of rain in our region with wind gusts up to 65 miles an hour. And you might remember there were no satellite warnings back in that time, so the beach communities didn't know what was coming. 93 people died on land and at sea. Of course, now we have more tools to track storms, but weather experts say we still need to be prepared for whatever Hilary may bring.
It has a strong potential to affect many Californians and disrupt their daily lives. That is pretty unusual for weather in mid-August.
And we've been talking to people this morning about whether they're aware of this storm coming, whether they are doing anything special. A number of people said they thought it was far away and didn't really realize it would affect them here. Now they're going to be keeping a better eye on the weather over the next few days to see if they do need to worry. We'll send it back to you.
Okay, Tina, thanks so much.
That is the problem with living in Southern California. We get so used to good weather. And then when all of a sudden we get bad weather, nobody knows how to deal with it. Nobody knows how to drive in it. Nobody knows how to be safe, whether it's walking or any activity that they're doing. That's when you usually get the idiots. Yeah, the idiots. And yeah, I'm just hoping that we did have a lot of rain in the winter season, so and it wasn't all that long ago. We were still getting some rain, but this is going to be over the top from what most people in SoCal are used to. So I'm hoping it doesn't bring out too many idiots. Let's see if I wanted to. I think there's plenty of those everywhere, Briggs. I guess every place has its their share of idiots. Let's see. Some of these I want just kept up here just to. Okay, well that was probably about it. I did place I placed a phone call to Steve Kaloka, and I did not hear back from him. I left a message, and he has an email. So he has a tendency to be on the ship over the weekend, so I'm hoping I may still get in touch with him by tomorrow. So I will keep checking with that. I'm not so sure if the Queen Mary has made any official statement or preparation for the storm. But since Long Beach has, it's a good possibility that they may have come up with something. My thought was at least to have some kind of extra staff, engineering, maintenance staff on board, just in case. At the very least, it's going to be a bucket brigade. You're going to have suddenly a huge area of leakage, and you're not going to want it to just accumulate onto the deck below. You're going to want to capture it in buckets. So, and they don't usually have a lot of that type of maintenance staff on board unless it's during the day, and Sunday is not going to be a day that they would normally be there. So I'm hoping that they are thinking ahead and have some of those types of people on board. It would be my decision on that. But anyway, I'm just looking through the chat here. So I basically came to the conclusion that this is going to be it's going to be an iffy situation over the next few days. So I'm pretty much planning on doing a live stream, probably the same time here, same time tomorrow, 4:00 p.m. To do another update. Hopefully we'll have some more information. We'll hope to have gotten a hold of Steve Kaloka by then. And then Jamie, you and I are going to have to talk. In fact, when I get off the live stream, if you can give me a call, I'd like to try and figure out if there's any time that you might be able to make a visit to the ship and report in on any activity or damage, anything that may be happening over the next few days. So, Jamie, call me after the live stream, and then we'll talk. But also, my other friend Malad is also planning on coming down. We'll get a full report on any damage on the ship on Tuesday. The storm is actually making its way in now. In fact, we actually got outer bands of moisture here in Las Vegas, and started to rain a little bit. And it's supposed to have we're supposed to have some thunderstorms here in a little while. But tomorrow we're going to start getting more bands, and it's going to be the same thing down in Long Beach area. But it shouldn't be too much. But starting Saturday night and into Sunday is going to be when we actually have more continuous rain. But it will be either late Sunday night to early Monday morning when the eye of the storm will make landfall. Whether that's going to be coming into the very northern tip of Mexico and coming into the California border, or if it's going to remain off the California coast west of San Diego and move its way north, possibly into Seal Beach, Long Beach area. And that's really what's going to be the nail biter here, is what will be the final track of the storm, and what will be its point of landfall, and whether or not it's going to maintain Category 1. Thanks, Jamie. This will be really... I believe it only happened once before in recorded history, and that was a hurricane that was Category 1 that hit San Diego, I think, in 1848. The one that we were just hearing earlier, the one in 1939, was actually Category 1, but then downgraded to a tropical storm just off the coast of Long Beach and San Pedro, and it made landfall actually right in between Long Beach and San Pedro, and wreaked havoc in that area. But it was just high-end tropical storm conditions. I mean, they're still calling for the possibility of Category 1 coming into Southern California. That is significant. That is significant. Yeah, well, Jamie, it's been sunny skies here, and then we get bands of clouds, and then it goes back to sunny, and then we get bands of clouds. I think we're all gonna have that same thing progressively more clouds over the next day or so. But and I've watched videos of how hurricanes start to move into areas along Florida and the East Coast, and I always thought it was strange because it's so broken up, and it comes in days before the actual center of the storm moves in, and then it's that last 12 hours before the center actually makes landfall, where you get the really high end wind condition and rain. No, thank you. I will stick to this, and this is bad enough. And we're actually supposed to get 3 to 5 inches of rain here in Las Vegas, so that we don't get 3 to 5 inches in a whole year practically. Palm Springs, they're calling for Palm Springs to be extremely cautious on potential flooding because they are going to far exceed their yearly total for rain in just this one storm. The whole Imperial Valley between El Centro near the Mexico border and all the way up through Palm Springs and into the Coachella Valley, that could all get really bad flood situations. And there's a lot of crops out there. It's an agricultural area, so that could affect the agriculture of that region. And then they're also talking about the possibility of it moving easterly a little bit, and it could move closer to Arizona, which would mean that the western region of Arizona could get more rain out of this than originally expected. So we're just going to have to watch the weather reports, and if anything significant happens, I'll post it in the community chat on the channel. But then I will also cover anything that comes up for tomorrow. I spoke with somebody. Jamie says, I just spoke with somebody from Florida, and he says it's usually a beautiful day prior to the day before a hurricane. I mean, like today in that video taken at Seal Beach in Long Beach. Yeah, the sun's out, everybody's at the beach. You're right. That's exactly how it usually is. Prior to hurricane, yet he says it's very quiet because the animals are gone. Yeah, I've heard that before too. I didn't notice if there were any sounds of birds or anything like that in the news report there. It sounds about the same here, but I don't know. There is something a little odd, a little off about the day-to-day. I went shopping earlier, and I don't know. I don't think it's clicked in for some people. And it really, I mean, this wasn't even talked about until yesterday. I saw a blurb online about Hurricane Hilary hitting California 2 nights ago. And I was like, oh, get real. It's, that's not going to happen. And then yesterday morning was when I heard about this track of Hilary making its way into Southern California. And I was like, wow, but it'll be a tropical depression, not even maybe a tropical depression. And not have any body to it. And this is just completely, I don't know, it's a little overwhelming because we don't deal with this stuff. And I guess that's why I'm also very concerned about the ship, because this is not a typical rainstorm that the Queen Mary deals with. I'm sure she will handle everything fine. My concern is flooding within the ship. That's going to be the problem, because it only causes more damage. And man, just COVID caused a lot of damage, but that's another story for another day. Let's see here. Yeah, Jamie, you should get Discord. That would be really good. You can put it on your phone, and I can easily put you into a live stream through Discord. I'll help you figure that out if you don't have it. Briggs is asking, when does she turn 100? You're talking about the Queen Mary turning 100? So if you go by her maiden voyage, it will be in 13 years, in 2036. You go by her launching, it would be in 11 years, 2034. If you go by her keel laying, then it would be in 7 years, 2030. Usually people go by the maiden voyage. Yeah, I'll explain it all to Jamie. I'll get him set up. No problem. Not a problem at all. Let's take a look and see if there was anything. They had talked about Hilary possibly upgrading to a Category 5, but it appears as though she might be moving into slightly cooler water, which will be the result of her losing a little bit of strength. And she's going to progressively lose that strength as she moves north anyway. But I thought, wow, to be upgraded to a Category 5 would have been even more impressive on this. But it looks like this is updated going all the way to, let's see. Oh, yeah, 4:34 p.m. And she's not actually supposed to touch Mexico until possibly about midway up the Baja Peninsula. And if you see, there's a line of blue here at the bottom going down to Cabo San Lucas, and then there's a middle area here that's in red. And that is the area where they're looking at possibly a landfall into Mexico. Wait, I know Scott is here. Scott, do you know what that area is on the Baja coast doing your cruising? See if Scott might know. They said the name of it. There's a little spit of land that comes out from the western Baja coast, and I didn't catch the name of it, but Scott might know. If Scott's still here, we'll see. But anyway, again, it's going to be whether she makes that turn to the north or if she continues northwest. So tomorrow, we will give you the update on that. Anybody else have any questions? Anything that's on their mind? Worried about the Queen Mary having an extra long shower? She is maybe a little dirty. Maybe she needs a little shower. Let's see if I missed any comments here really quick. No, okay, we're good. I guess maybe Scott left. That's no problem. Anyways. Well, I think I'm going to leave it there for now. Tomorrow night, more information will be updated. Yes, Mike. Mike is got it. Tomorrow night, more information will be updated. I am hoping to hear from Steve Coloca by then. Okay, Moonser's asking, hey, did you know one time the RMS crew... I don't think she was in Long Beach. I think she actually docked in San Pedro itself, in Los Angeles Harbor, because Long Beach didn't really have much of a dock facility area. Long Beach was, other than the naval yard on Terminal Island. Long Beach was just beach. So unless I think I've even seen a photo of her docked in San Pedro. Kilo 4 Romeo November Alpha. He's been hanging out here too. There is. Scott, thank you. Punta Eugenia? I might be saying that wrong. Punta Eugenia. Very good. Oh, nice. Kilo 4 Romeo November Alpha is a amateur radio operator. Hello, Victoria Lynch. You don't think Long Beach will get it bad? Well, I'm hoping that Long Beach doesn't get it bad either. But in saying San Diego should get a lot of rain, it's really going to depend upon her final track and where she makes landfall. That will really determine the amount of rainfall and the addition of storm surge and coastal flooding. So we should know a lot more by the end of the day tomorrow. Now they'll already start to get rain in San Diego and Long Beach and all that area intermittently through the day tomorrow and heavier going in the evening. But it really will depend upon where she decides to make that turn in. Oh, Moonser's abusing his powers. Moonser, you kicked her from the channel? Bad, Moonser. Bad. Well, I hope Victoria made it back. Victoria, if you're here, I apologize for Moonser. Yeah. You accidentally hit remove. How do you do that? I know it's an accident, but... Squirrel! We'll just go with that. We call Moonser Squirrel, but that's a story. That's another story for another day. Yeah, bad Moonser. Bad. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate you all coming to check in with me on getting some more information on this situation. I thought it would be really good to share it with everybody because I'm just sitting here, YouTube browsing and kind of getting information for myself. And I thought, you know what? I might as well just share it with everybody. So we'll see how this all works out. I'm kind of liking this whole live stream thing on a not a regular basis, but let's see. Did she make it back? I haven't seen her post yet. Hello, Historic Ships. Victoria is back. Okay. Yeah, Moons, fix what you messed up. Sorry about that, Victoria. That we'll punish him at some point. All right. Well, everybody, it's I think we pretty much covered everything. I want to just make sure I got. Let's see. No, we don't already watched that one. They did not have the Los Angeles city area declared a tropical storm watch, which was interesting. They were only giving the coastal community areas tropical storm watch, meaning to be prepared for tropical storm conditions, which would be 30 mile an hour all the way up to 50, 60 mile an hour winds with gusts near hurricane force, near 75 mile an hour winds. But they were only calling for the coastal areas. They declared Los Angeles a tropical storm watch. And I got a feeling if she maintains a Category 1, we might even get a hurricane watch up in the coastal areas. I'll play some of this for you here really quick.
Yeah, well, now that they've moved it a little bit farther north and to the west, including all the way to the Ventura County coast, essentially. So all of Southern California now under the tropical storm watch. And the tropical storm watch means that tropical storm force winds, 40 miles per hour, sustained 40 miles per hour or higher, are possible. That doesn't mean that everybody's going to get winds that strong, because especially in California where you have all those mountains, the winds will be stronger where the wind goes through the passes. As anybody that's spent any time in California knows, that when you're in a pass, it can be just whistling, and then you get behind the mountain and you don't have that much depending on the direction of the wind. So it just means the possibility, depending on the time, the direction of the wind, and how the air is interacting with the passes, and essentially all of Los Angeles County and point south and all the way to the Nevada line is under this tropical storm watch for the possibility of these strong winds, and then of course higher winds at the higher elevations. So the biggest threat for winds are going to be up the hillsides and up the mountains. That'll also be the biggest threat for rain. All right, let's get to the new advisory information. I have some little clarity on what's happened here. The wind estimate now as of 5 o'clock.
Okay, he's going to go into the reason why the storm had downgraded a little bit. He also explained that the NOAA Hurricane Hunters aircraft were working, flying through the storm, getting readings, and he didn't know exactly what happened, but something interrupted their whole flight plan, and they had to end their flight early. So he didn't think that they got all of the readings that they wanted to get. And I'm sure they'll probably make another pass tomorrow. But, I've watched the things on those Hurricane Hunter aircraft. They're really neat. Brave souls. I would not want to fly a turboprop, 4-engine turboprop aircraft from the 1960s, mind you. Those are Lockheed Electras that they use for hurricane hunting. I would not want to fly them into a storm, into those kind of conditions. Yeah. No, thank you. Let's see. I saw something here really quick. Jamie was asking, have you ever been on the Queen Mary during your tour days? And the rain was coming down buckets. So the worst days... Oh my gosh. First off, if it was a rainy day, especially in the wintertime, in the winter season, rainy days meant nobody came to the ship. I would be lucky if I had 1 or 2 people sign up for a tour that I was going to give. And I was reading a Facebook post from somebody who was making the comment about, it's nice to have a small group of people, half a dozen, maybe 10. And you don't like having big groups, but they are also fun to some degree because you get an audience reaction with a larger group. But I totally agree with the whole thing of the worst kind of group is like 1 or 2 people. Because now you end up being more like it's a one-on-one conversation. You're not going to give them the whole spiel that you would normally give on a tour, and it can go good or it can go bad. You can get an individual or a couple who are really interested in what they are looking at, and you can have a great conversation with them, show them around the ship. But if they're just doing it just to do it, and the interest might be a little bit there, but not completely there. It's a very awkward scenario. But going back to rain, in some cases, rain also meant an early, leave home. If we didn't have many tours booked, it would mean an early day for me. But pouring down rain, not fun, because first off, you hear it when it's pouring on sun deck, it just echoes into prom deck. You can hear the rain pounding on the deck above. And then second, the scupper drains from sun deck come down into prom deck, and they actually empty out into a that's kind of like a holding tank a little bit there on prom deck, so that it can all filter into another scupper and then drain out through the side of the ship. Those clog up. When you get a lot of water all at one time, they clog up, and water backs up onto prom deck. You can actually have like lakes start to form on prom deck. I hope that they have resolved some of those issues, but those were issues that I remember having 30 years ago. And I don't think there was really much of anything that could have been done to resolve them, except, well, the scupper and the scupper drains need to be completely rebuilt. That's one issue, and cleaned out. But to answer your question, Jamie, pouring down rain, it also meant that there were leaks on board, and I just hated giving tours with buckets all around and damaged areas of the ship. Rain last night. The river was really high today. What river do you live close to, Mike? Conrad says, I take advantage of being in a tiny tour group. Questions. Hey, now see, that would be wonderful, because I love answering questions. So giving a tour to one-on-one, or a couple of people on, a small group like that's great when they're asking questions. It's when they're silent, when they don't ask anything. They're just there. And you give them information, but it's almost like you're, I don't know, like they could find something better to do, or listen to something better than the information that I'm giving them, because you can always tell when somebody's not really tuned into what you're telling them. And that was when it was really awkward. But no, I totally agree with the, questions. Let's see here. Just from somebody in Guadalajara. Boy, you get around on that radio. They are getting hammered. Oh, really? Yeah, right, Victoria. There is so much history, and I do tend sometimes I can give maybe too much information than what people are wanting to absorb, but I usually tend to pay attention to what is wanted versus what I give. Let's see. Yes, awkward. Would you describe that silence wall? Well, yes, absolutely. There is. And odds are that hurricane won't reach us. And I don't know, I'd be a little disappointed now. I put all this energy into. Be a little disappointed if it actually didn't show up. Moonser's asking, what are your thoughts on what's going to happen to that sub? I mean, that rusty piece of crap. I'm just so over that thing now that any way you look at it, it's going to be one major project to get rid of. It's not going to come out of there easily. Whether it's going to be preserved somewhere, which, you know, I'd be all fine with that. But the more effort that has to be put into that thing, oh man, yeah, I'm just so, I'm done. I'm beyond done with it. I just wish it would just disappear. Yeah, it's still there, Victoria. It's still there. Well, I'm gonna end the live stream with this because I was gonna put it up here a minute ago, but hold on one second. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. 1 second. That is, I don't know. My mind was flashing onto this thought as well. All right. I had to do this.
Jesse, get down! Copy that. There's a tidal wave coming. We got 1 minute. Get everyone off the ship. Mayday! Mayday! Mayday!
I was gonna say that did actually look like it was filmed in the in W6RO's radio room on board.
Hold on.
No, listen.
He's doing it again. Hang on.
Oh, here it comes.
Are you crazy? It's coming at us.
It's our only chance.
Ah, the bungee jump. The bungee jump was in there in the shot. I gotta stop it there for a minute. I like how they show the tidal wave coming in from her stern, and then somehow, some way, the tidal wave has changed direction and is now coming from the direction of downtown Long Beach to make her roll over on her port side. Yeah. No.
Oh my God.
He loves what he's doing.
So somehow, oh yeah, there's a good shot right there. We'll just leave it right there. No, I don't think that was Kevin James. This would have been no, actually, no. This was filmed in '97, I think. It was filmed when I was actually working on board as a tour guide. Somebody asked about the name of the movie. It's a made-for-TV movie called Tidal Wave. It was aired on NBC. And yeah, it was a lousy movie. I don't think it's going to be as lousy as the Haunted Queen Mary movie that's coming out. But yeah, it was, you know how you can't help but look at a really bad traffic accident? Well, I guess maybe you could consider this movie that a really bad traffic accident. Corbin Burnson, yes. I think that's who that was. I think you're right. Yeah, Victoria, that movie is coming out, and they filmed that on board during COVID, and there was actually some hope that it might actually be a somewhat decent movie, and oh God, no, no, it's worse than I thought it was going to be. It's horrible. I can't even get through watching the trailer for it. It's really bad. I had to, Jamie. I had to play it. I was going to key it up to play it for the stream. And I thought, nah, I won't do that. And then I forget who it was that brought it up. And like, oh yeah, like the movie Tidal Wave. I was like, oh, okay, I have to play it now. It really needed to come in. Yeah, Victoria, that is the reason why there was a lot of filming on board during the COVID shutdown. It was really a perfect time for them to come on board to do it. I don't know what it was about CBS, but a lot of CBS television productions were shot on board, including SWAT. Oh golly, there's at least 2 or 3 others that all did filming on board within a short period of time. What I really would like to see be released to where you can see it on either online or through even if it came out on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, but is oh crap, what's the name of it? Adventures of the Queen, which was Irwin Allen's post-Poseidon adventure. His post-Poseidon adventure that he did following the Poseidon adventure. I think he did about 1975, and he did I think it was a 3-hour long like a mini movie, a mini series for television, where in this case the ship was simply called the Queen, and let's see, I'm trying to think who played the captain on board. But unlike Poseidon Adventure, it was pretty much all filmed on board Queen Mary, including the first class lounge, observation bar, and a lot of outer deck shots. I don't know if I should play that trailer, Evan. I thought about it, but I'll probably get dinged on it, so I don't know if I should do it.
Mustang proper. We've got we've got opposing cloud features. On the west side, it's wrapping to the south. On the north side,
where is that coming from?
It's wrapping to the north, and in the center there is where you're going to see the main circulation.
That is so weird how these things come in to start playing it. Oh, I guess they're having a tornado in. That's a year ago. Why is that playing? Okay, get rid of that. Strange. Stupid YouTube. Let's see. Be getting a phone call from the Queen Mary corporate department. Why, Jamie? Why would they be calling me? Well, I'm expecting Steve Kaloga to call me, but what did I say anything wrong? I hope not. I'll tell you. I'll tell everybody right now. I do have to bite my tongue sometimes on comments. It is so easy to be critical of things, and there are a lot of people out there who have made themselves involved with the Queen Mary who don't bite their tongue, who say what they want to say. And I don't think they really have an understanding of how things work in the world with business, with comments that have been made in years past, especially through social media. I mean, good Lord, social media has gotten a lot worse now than it was then. But it was, I mean, even then, the city of Long Beach was paying attention to it, and RMS Foundation was paying attention to it. They read posts, and if you happen to post something that didn't really fit well with what they thought of, if you were heavily critical of something, it could earn you a little bit of a, I don't know, a negative, vibe from them. So, I'm going to be critical to a point, but, and it's the same with, like the leaking decks. That's critical to a point. Matthew Richards says it's so hot in California right now. Not a cloud in the sky. It's as deserty and close to the hottest month of the year. Would never know a lot of rain was coming. Kind of welcome it. See, I feel the same way. We've been good grief. We've hardly been below 110 here in Las Vegas for like the last month and a half. I was down there on the Queen Mary last week and in the Anaheim area for a couple weeks, and I was just enjoying it. High 70s to mid 80s. Oh, so much more relaxing than 110, 115. But I still love living here in Vegas now. All right, let's see here. Wow, did we really hit an hour? Oh, yeah, we went past an hour. Victoria was asking, is it going to be in theaters? I'm assuming you're talking about the Haunted Queen Mary. I believe so. Oh, no, no, that is definitely going to be out in theaters. In fact, well, what the heck? Piano. Oh, good Lord. The piano. So, I'll give you a little background here. So there's currently a piano on A deck in the hotel lobby. It's a near original piano. It was on board the Queen Mary when she arrived in '67, but we're convinced that it was not original to the ship in 1936. In fact, we think it came from one of the oddball Cunard ships, like the Media or the Skythia. Some ship during the 50s and was transferred to the Queen Mary for some unknown reason. But it found its way to the second class main lounge on main deck aft. And there are photographs of the second class main lounge when it was the flamenco room in the 60s with that same piano that's up on stage. And so the piano that's in the A deck hotel lobby now is that piano, that same piano. More than likely it was a replacement, probably from one that was damaged during a rough crossing. But if we go back to the haunted history, which I don't know if you can really associate history with the haunted stories, but there was always this talk of the Lady in White. And the Lady in White was often seen, well, in the very early days of Long Beach, was often seen in the first class lounge, or the Queen Salon today. And that was because she was near the piano that was up on stage. Well, up and through the 70s, I think all the way into the early 80s, the original first class lounge piano remained on the stage in the first class lounge. And so this image of this lady in a white gown was often seen near this piano in the Queen's Salon. So in the early 80s, they had decided to build a piano bar up in Sir Winston's. And so they decided to use the first class lounge piano for the piano bar. And as the story goes, the Lady in White actually moved with the piano, and instead of being seen often in the first class lounge, she was often seen in the piano bar of Sir Winston's. And so there was always the association of the Lady in White with this piano. Now, moving all the way forward to this year, starting with the opening days of the tours back in April. Well, actually, going back to I didn't come on board for the guided tours that they were giving in the December, January, February. But starting, say, April, May, June, I started listening to the spiels that were being given for the piano in the A deck lobby, and they started talking about this particular piano and the supposed Lady in White associated with this piano. And I'm thinking, good Lord. I mean, it's bad enough that you're going to be giving haunted history, which, again, I use that term loosely. But, I mean, if you're going to at least give haunted history, I mean, give it right. The Lady in White was associated with the original first class lounge piano, not with this piano in A deck. And then to make it worse, they start referring to that piano being, one, nearly 80 years old and about ready to fall apart, which is interesting because they hire a pianist to come on board every so often to play the piano in the A deck lobby. And then second, they start referring to it originally coming from the Mauritania room, which is the original third class garden lounge on main deck forward. So I asked Tim. Tim is one of the tour guides on board, who is probably the best tour guide in their staff. I mean, he just is incredible. He's a terrific guy. I was casually asking him about, why are the tour guides talking about the piano with the lady and the lady in white, and giving this false information? He said, well, it's in their notebooks, their spiel notebooks that are given to the tour guides. I was like, you got to be kidding me. He said, yeah. He says, I know. And apparently their tour guide notebooks are all, it's kind of a conglomeration of the last nearly 50 years of giving guided tours. So there's a lot of information that is, it's, cookie cutter information, from right out of the history books, to where you had a lot of freelance information given. Maybe not so much checked, back checked by historical record. And so I don't know where all this information comes from, but that whole thing about the piano just drives me nuts. And oh boy, Shiloh and Malad and I were, well, that's a whole other. We made the tour guide act like a deer in headlights because she started talking about it being from the Mauritania room, and the three of us were all just so shocked by the fact that she mentioned the Mauritania room, and so all three of us at the same time out loud go, the Mauritania room, and she just froze. She turned around and looked at us, stared at us, and I was like, oh my gosh, did we just say that out loud? You remember this, Shiloh, right? And I felt bad for saying it out loud, but it was a shocking moment because I wasn't expecting her to say Mauritania room. Oh, I wish this was more like instantaneous live. There's so much of a delay. I'm waiting for Shiloh to reply back. I gotta get used to this whole live stream business, but yeah, Matthew was saying the movie is going to be ... interesting, and again, it's a bad car accident. Yeah, I kind of maybe want to see it, but I don't know if I really want to see it. All right, guys, it's 5:15, and it is time for my dinner. My stomach is growling, and Mike's talking about a big bowl of ice cream. Now, see, I can't even think of ice cream. I got to eat dinner first, sir. I can't help it if you're 3 hours ahead of me. All right, I really appreciate all of you coming out, being with me here. So I will set up another live stream tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific time, for a continuation of updating you on what could be Hurricane Hilary coming to the Queen Mary. Anybody, last questions? Anybody? I'll give you one more second here. All right, guys. Okay, I will give out. See you later. Take care.